Hey guys, CBI Prinsu here with another install video. Today we're going to be focusing on the Prinsu Pro Rack for the Toyota Sequoia 2nd Gen. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, before we get started on this install, let's do a little double check and make sure that we have everything here. All of the components for our roof rack, we're going to have all of our crossbars, we're going to have our inner side rails, our outer side rails, we're going to have 3 mounting feet per side, we're going to have a joining plate per side, wind deflector, noise reducing trim, and our hardware kit. So for this install, you're going to require a couple of tools. We're going to need some sort of a ratchet. We just use this E1 here because it's a lot faster for us. You're going to want a 10mm socket. You're going to want a 5/32 Allen key. Yeah, that's about it. Okay guys, so for the first step of this installation process, we're going to start by mating these outer side rails to these inner crossbars here. How we're going to do that is we're going to take these 1-inch long 1/4 screws that are going to come in your hardware kit, and we're going to fasten them to the crossbars using these 1-inch slots on the inside, on the outside of these side rails here. But first what we're going to do is we're going to take some Vibrotite. We're going to hit all of our hardware on the outside. That way nothing shakes loose while we're on the road or anything like that. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, now that we've hit all of our screws with Vibrotite, now we're actually going to mate these outer side rails to these inner crossbars here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our inner side rail here, this thin piece, we're going to match it up to the inner profile of the outer side rail, and we're going to tip those up. We're going to thread those 1-inch screws into the side of our crossbars. As you can tell guys, the inner side rail with this outer side rail is going to be sticking out a little bit. That's going to help locate the two side rails together when you actually match them up and fasten them together. So you're just going to take your outer side rail on the rear, slide it into place, and then now that you have your 1-inch slot, now you can secure a crossbar to that, and you're going to be taking this little joiner piece with a couple of press nuts. You're going to slip it on the back side here, and that's going to correspond to these two bottom holes here. Same thing, you just use these 1-inch screws and just screw them all down. Okay guys, now that we have the actual main body of the roof rack assembled, we're going to start focusing on the assembly for the wind deflector. So we'll show you how to do that right now. Alrighty guys, here you have it. These are all the components that you're going to need to assemble the wind deflector. You're going to have the wind deflector itself, you're going to have the crossbar that it mounts to, and you're going to have the noise reducing trim. In your hardware, you're going to have some 1/2-inch 1/4 screws with their corresponding washers, and some of these T-nuts that are going to slide in the rails of this extrusion here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 8 of these and we're going to position them in the rail here, aligning with the corresponding holes in the wind deflector, so that way we can fasten down the wind deflector to this extrusion. So let's start. A little pro tip here as well, you're going to want to make sure that this threaded portion, this little raised portion, is facing upward. That way it's a little easier for those screws to grab onto those threads. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, so for this next portion, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start attaching these noise reducing trim to the front leading edge of this wind deflector. There are two parts of this. There's this hard kind of flat side that's gonna be up and in front, and then there's this round rubber side that's gonna be on the bottom side. So what you're gonna do is in this in this trim, there's gonna be this little slot here that you're gonna press fit onto this leading edge. So let's do that right now. Typically guys, you are gonna have a little bit of a portion here that's hanging off. You're gonna wanna trim that off with some scissors, a knife, dikes, tin snips, whatever you have, you can use to just kind of trim that off, but that's it. That is how you assemble the wind deflector. Alrighty guys, now that we have the wind deflector assembly all put together, we're gonna mate it to the rest of the rack here now. Same sort of a thing, you're gonna be using these 1-inch long 1/4-20 screws, and those are gonna fasten right here to the inside of this crossbar, and that's gonna correspond to these two holes right here. So let's just assemble that real quick. Same thing with these guys, you're gonna wanna make sure you put some Vibratite on those screws. That way there's no chance that they can wibble loose while you're driving. There you go guys, that's the wind deflector assembly installed onto the rest of the roof rack. Now we're gonna tell you about the mounting feet and how you're gonna prepare those before we lift it onto the vehicle. Alrighty guys, so for this next portion, what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on mounting the mounting feet to the inside of these side rails. That way we can get it ready to lift it onto the roof. You're gonna have 3 mounting feet about this size on each side of the roof rack. You're gonna have a 1, a 2, and a 3 from front to back. So along your side rail here, you're gonna notice these little vertical slots here, periodically all the way down. That's gonna be where those mounting feet are gonna correspond and are gonna mount onto those side rails. So we're gonna take more of those 1-inch 1/4-20 screws. Make sure you hit them with some Vibratite again. You're gonna take this mounting foot like so and mount it to the inside of the crossbar. Typically what we do is we mount them up in the upmost position of the slots. And if you need to adjust, that's what the slot is for. But let's get those fastened down real quick. Okay, and that's it guys. All 3 mounting feet are the same on both sides, so you're gonna wanna repeat those steps on that side as well. And then what we're gonna move on to is we're actually gonna start prepping the roof for the roof rack to set on it. So let's do it. Alrighty guys, so for this next step, we're actually gonna show you how to prep the roof to set the roof rack on some aluminum spacers. This installation process is gonna be the exact same as the OG roof rack for the 2nd Gen Sequoia. We're gonna show you that clip right here. Alright guys, so for this next portion of the video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about prepping your mounting feet locations. On the top of the 2nd Gen Toyota Sequoia, there are gonna be factory mounting holes for you provided. So what we're gonna do here, there were factory rails on top of this vehicle, but there was already one of our roof racks on it, so we can't show you right here how to take off those factory rails. However, they're super easy. Pop off some plastic covers, remove the factory bolts, and everything's exposed. So now that we're here, now that we have our 2 threaded mounting holes, you're gonna have a set of 6 on each side of the vehicle, and there's going to be some extra holes that we've plugged up here with a waterproof sealing tape. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these 1/2-inch aluminum spacers and these EPDM washers. Alright guys, so for this next portion, we're actually gonna prep our spacer and our washer with some of the black silicone that will be provided in your kit. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take it and we're just gonna put a decent amount of silicone inside of the opening of the spacer. You can also put some on the bottom surface as well. Make sure you apply a decent amount like so. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your washer, apply it to the bottom, add a little bit, decent amount there. And then you're going to just take it and set it over your hole like so. And then we're gonna repeat that with the rest of them all over the top of the roof. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, the roof rack is now fully assembled. Now we're ready to actually lift it and mount it onto the vehicle. Make sure you grab a couple buddies to help you, that way you don't damage anything. Let's do it. Alrighty guys, now that the roof rack is positioned on top of those aluminum spacers, we're gonna take these M6 by 40 millimeter screws that are in your kit with this corresponding fender washer, and we're gonna run those through the mounting feet down into those factory mounting points on top of the vehicle. Alrighty guys, now that we have all those started in each of those 12 factory mounting points, I'm gonna get a ratchet. I'm gonna finish tightening those down. That way I don't damage the roof or anything. We're just gonna use hand tools. So do all 12 of these real quick. When it comes to aligning the roof rack and making sure it's centered, you're gonna wanna use these washers and the slots underneath and make sure you have the same amount of gap on both sides in between the slots and the washers. That way you know the roof rack's completely centered on the vehicle. So we already went through and checked and it's good to go. So let's finish tightening these down. Alrighty guys, there you have it. We've finished the installation for our new Prinsu Pro Rack on the 2nd gen Toyota Sequoia. As always guys, if you have any sort of questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to our customer service emails or phone numbers. And as always, we will have written instructions available for you guys on the website. Thanks again for watching guys, we really appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the trails.